Hey, what's up guys? It's Oakley and we're going to be doing a 2v2 siege. This is going to be the siege of, whoa, I can't remember the name, Diospolis, I believe. So I've played on this map before. I thought actually when I was loading this game up that we'd be playing the version where it stretched across over to here. So my thinking was when I was able to fight that battle before, there was a wall here, and once you broke through that wall you could run through and rampage through on a lot of open ground. So that's why you see me mostly taking the Parthians. What I wanted to do was I have two elephant groups. I was going to try and just knock down what was going to be the wall over here with my one trebuchet, and then just pour in with elephants and a lot of supporting fire and just burn my way through here. Disappointingly, however, I got into the game and it was a much smaller siege, so tactics have changed a bit. Anyways, my ally is going to be Rome. And I figured he would bring a lot of heavy infantry. He seems to have overdone it in the cavalry department, but at least he does have one catapult unit, and he's going to be putting the shots on the buildings in the distance. So I have decided sort of to split up my forces. I knew my opponent would try and do some sort of sortie with his cavalry, so that's why I placed elephants and also some support groups, some mercenary hoplites, quickly getting on the tower to defend these giant ballista. The ballista right now are not targeting anything. I'm saving their fire because I know there's going to be a ton of troops in the back here. So I'm going to save their fire for a moment when I can hopefully knock out the best troops. Anyways, let's go ahead and look over here. As my towers get closer, you can start to see what the opponents did very craftily. Is right here. They have almost the ancient equivalent of machine guns placed up here, and then if I even make it past these fireballs. But let's go ahead and watch their first defenses. It's going to be right here. It's going to be very hard for me to get down in these parts of the towers, if I can even get that far. But here I am moving across with these heavy siege towers. It's really hard to take them out ahead of time, so my opponent is not really even trying to. He's just going to wait right here. And in the distance, I did keep one of my siege towers. I don't want to commit everything to the first assault. I have no idea how it's going to go. Anyway, here come my heavy Parthian footmen, and they're going to be coming off. But look at this, what they're going to be faced with. All the archers here, this is something I've been seeing a lot of players do more and more often, is just place all of their skirmishers back down here, and just they lay waste to you as you come out. So this was my first party, and that's what they're going to be privy to. It's just going to be a huge exchange of missiles. So before your guys can even get out, this is what they're faced with. So it makes a pretty ridiculous screenshot, actually. Let's leave it for this view and just watch what happens. So as my guys are disembarking from the towers, they're just going to get a face full of these missiles. You'll notice that I can't go down because they have pikemen down there. So as these guys are coming out, I'm trying to tell them to move over to that staircase in the distance. But it's really hard to give commands when they're in the siege towers. But here we go, they're going to start dispersing. You can see already half of my boarding parties have been absolutely demolished. Some of them are being sent over, and they're going to be running up that staircase trying to get to those siege towers, or siege equipment over there. But yep, every gate is going to be blocked by pikemen. So I'm going to be forced to run along the gates. And yep, already some of my guys have decided to rout. So what he's doing is he's forcing me to run along this thin line of wall, and all the way through I'm getting picked off with various archer units. So you can see just the layering of defenses here. There's really not much I can do. I should have brought more artillery pieces. Could have easily blown up these walls, or at least 2-3 more artillery. I could have taken out these towers, moved in with my own heavy skirmisher build here, and just laid on the fire onto his guys here. But because I thought it was a different map, that's sort of my reasoning behind it. It's still not an excuse. I should bring more siege equipment. Anyways, same thing is going on here. However, he's loaded up the walls with his infantry. So my guys get up to the top, but they're going to be sandwiched between two or whole host of units. And they're already going to take my Parthian swordsman out. He also has more guys here. However, Rome has broken through one of these positions, and they're going to have pikemen ready to force that back. Also at this point, I'm covering my artillery units, and I figure that I'm going to go ahead and break a hole in this area here. Now that I've got his troops distracted on the wall, I'm going to go ahead and plug the gap. Egypt is going to go ahead and make a sortie right here, making a mad dash for the catapults. And they're going to try and just silence the guns, so to speak. Rome is really not doing much to intercept this attack. He should be deploying all his excessive cavalry to block this, but it's not going to be the case. So these heavy onagers that still have a lot of ammo are going to be basically killed, which sucks for us because this is the only piece of siege equipment. We really needed more openings in the wall. That's our main problem now. The wall right here is getting shot at. A couple of the shots are going over and doing a little damage to the wall past there. For the most part, I'm just trying to take this out while there are men standing. I'm going to move this other siege tower forward, but I'm going to have to abandon it because I know that it's on fire. Anyways, my hoplites are going to be making their way over here. I'm going to hold them for the time being. Over in this position, I'm really not looking to engage in the same place. I'm going to wait for a better opportunity. That's why that siege tower is waiting at a distance. Elephants are here to prevent, if he decides to send cavalry out, I'll be able to intercept those. And then this guy is going to try and wait, bide his time for an assault on the walls over here. For the most part, we're going to be pushing through this position. And yeah, here you can see here, the cavalry is going, but they're all walking. So my ally was not much of a help. And now he's going to be moving forward. He does have a pretty sizable contingent of Syrian archers. All the Romans are going to be moving out, but it's too little too late to help these fleeing artillerymen. And the Egyptian cav is going to decide to run back. Flaming towers in the distance. Romans chasing them off, but as I said, it's too little too late. So you go, the Egyptians are going to basically rally forth, take out the siege, and really limit our ability to break through the walls. And they're going to pull back and wait for another defense. In this position here, I'm still knocking down the walls. And it's only going to be a matter of time before we can fully take that out. Over here you can see I really don't have much of an assault force. It was mostly one Parthian swordsman here, another hoplite unit here, and then one on the wall was already killed, so I withdrew the other one. So I had 4 units all in towers, only one made it to the walls, the other abandoned it, so I didn't want to needlessly use him. Elephants are getting positioned over here to be able to attack this hole in the walls or this position. Over on this front, it's kind of a standstill. I'm going to start shifting some of these troops over around here, try and get to this position. In the meantime, I do have to keep some hoplites back because my opponent is trying to send in some of his Egyptian cav. But here you can see sun shining through. Another hole has opened up, and you can see a little bit of the what our opponents are doing. I was able to kill some of the opponents up on the wall, but look at what they're going to be doing. Oh, you can actually see my tower in the distance getting ready to move. But yeah, the problem with these types of sieges, and probably the most effective defense that you can pull off, is just this is a pikeman unit, put pikemen at all the gaps that are opened up. If you're able to take at all the walls, then what they'll do is they'll just mass archers shoot you, and then any place you want to try and come down, they'll just put their pikes down. So it's a little bit annoying, and it's probably one of the reasons I should have just brought more and just absolutely huge numbers of siege equipment. Now the problem, if you do that, well then your opponent can just retreat back from the walls and clog up these plazas. So probably the best thing to do is to try and set a limit on the number of pikes. We forgot to do that for this game, so our opponents were definitely using a valid tactic. There you go. They're moving, shifting their units over to this front. And some of the Egyptian cav is going to try and pull out the side and really try and engage with my ballista troops who have been trying to knock out various points. I got some shots off, trying to take out his sort of high value units. I was hoping to land some shots and intercept these Hippeus lancers who are going to be pushing out here. More and more of the Egyptian cav is massing on this front, so I'm going to pull more infantry back. He thinks he can get a double strike on me. What I'm going to do instead is, the best thing to do in these situations is to just drop your siege equipment and tell your guys to hide like in a little corner like here. But I'm moving back my elephants as well to help cover this. Oh, that's weird. Last time I thought I had told them to drop their siege equipment. Apparently not. Well, anyways, here I'm going to be telling them to drop their siege equipment, move in with some hoplites, and he's having his allies send in more Hippeus lancers. This is where I'm sending some of my reinforcements around this flank. There you go. The battle is continued. And I'm going to try and set these guys to intercept. And he's going to run away with his cav. So I'm trying to at least, if my guys were going to sacrifice themselves like that, I was at least going to catch his cav. So 2 cav for 1 artillery unit. I think that was maybe a good exchange for him. He didn't really need those cavalry. At the same time, this artillery unit was basically down to just a couple more shots. Anyways, they're sending forward their Hippeus lancers. What he's trying to do is over here, I just sent out elite Persian archers backed up with just 1 cataphract unit. You can see why I'm retreating. 2 of his Hippeus lancers can easily dodge my cataphracts. So I'm going to head and pull back and then reinforce with some royal cataphracts. Over in this position, I know my guys here are, if he wants to sally forth from that gate, I really need more cover, so cataphracts are coming back in to cover this approach. I realize that all his units outside the gates are going to be a perfect target for me. So I'm going to go ahead and drive a wedge through here. We're going to kind of have a race for the gates. It's going to be kind of pretty epic. So here we go. I'm going to be sending my guys forward. One of these Parthian swordsman units is going to try and push these guys out this way. The rest of my force, let's watch this, trying to hem him in. They're going to be coming in, these cataphracts. Seeing this, he's going to know he's going to want to retreat and pull back towards the gate. So I'm going to try and push these hoplites here and these elephants. He actually decides, I think, first that the best option is just to intercept these guys who are by themselves. So I get into shield wall, and let's go ahead and watch just how effective this is or isn't. So there you go, smashes into my front ranks. However, most of these guys are actually going to start getting back up. So he did get some really good initial strikes, but now that he's caught in the melee, you can see what's happening in the distance. My cataphracts are moving in. He notices this is a danger. So there he goes. He's running for the gate. However, look what's happening on the right. The elephants are stampeding for the gate, so it's really going to be a race for safety. Almost reminds me of the third Lord of the Rings, where you have the cavalry retreating from Osgiliath and then the Nazgul coming in. So this is really where they needed to have Gandalf come in from the gates. So one of the Egyptian cav is able to slip through. However, my elephants are mostly able to just come in here and start wrecking these cavalry, really keeping them from the gate. However, I'm in a position where I'm getting fired on from the built-in towers. So he's going to decide to choose the path of least resistance, but look who's here, ready to greet him at this moment. So sweet payback is going to be mine. Going to intercept his forces on the charge. Coming in on all fronts. And I think I should have another unit cresting the side. But yeah, his guys were caught at a standstill. They're still trying to pull through. But yeah, here you go. The second wave of my cataphracts is now crashing over the hill, coming down, knocking out his Hippeus Lancers. So at this point, you could kind of try and pick out the individual melees. But mostly it's going to be me just destroying his units. He was caught, wrecked by my elephants, and now cataphracts I lost 3 guys. Cataphracts I lost 0 guys. So his Hippeus Lancers were absolutely just wrecked in that assault, so I was happy with how that went. I'm starting to even up the assault, but I still have no way to access the inside of this city, so I'm waiting for Rome to push through. I was trying to draw images on my map to tell him to, you know, push the breach, shower him with your archers, burn down the gates, do something. He was really having none of it. I think his reluctance was mostly just because he invested so much on these cavalry. If he had so much cav, he really should have helped, you know, with these types of fights, or preventing the enemy from pouring forward. So anyways, our opponents are going to be sending out some more units, just trying to probe, but at the same time playing it safe on the inside with spears and pikes all over, keeping their cav ready for assault at any moment. Over on this front, it's pretty dead. Just waiting for the battle to happen over on this side so I can strike maybe when they're least expecting. So now we're going to have a little bit of a dead period. I'm going to go ahead and fast forward it just so we can persevere and just press on. So now I'm moving in with my elephants, and you can see my archers and some footmen on the right. So I figured if he has his own spear units right at the walls, then I'm going to come in with my archers with heavy shot and just try and push through and just murder those guys. Hopefully in the ensuing break I can charge in through with my elephants or my cataphracts or anything else. So what I'm going to be doing now is telling my ally to send in some of Rome's units. So Rome is going to be pushing forward. I'm going to move in with... Oh, why is it so sensitive? Move in with one of my siege towers. I'm going to do well to kind of avoid this burning one and then push through. My intention is to take this gate. I was hoping to send some of these hoplites, but my opponent actually spotted these hidden guys. So now some of the Egyptian guard on the wall is going to be chasing my guys. I figured since my guys were silver, they'd be able to take them. However, they have been diminished, so they're going to be pulling back a little bit. And then I'm going to tell them to form a shield wall, but it's only going to be a matter of time. They basically have, 20 seconds until the enemy is upon them, so they're going to move back. And then I'm going to tell them to turn about and form a shield wall. Over on this front, pushing forward with my tower, pushing forward with my archers. However, they're going to be taking fire from this tower. This is really what I should have taken out if I had one more artillery piece, was just give me cover. Right now, I'm losing my Persian archers, a couple every second. It really sucks. And those towers just have automatic damage on each of your units. So there we go. I'm going to start chipping away at his guys. They have high armor. My angle of attack is not that great, but it's the best I can do for pushing forward through this gate. So we'll start doing some damage. Rome is going to be starting to move in as well. And over here on this position, my hoplites are holding up. However, look at this. He has 74 against 43. My guys, as I said, are silver. They're well rested. His guys, however, have 2 experience plus more numbers, so we'll see how that turns out. Again, on this front, I'm suspecting that because I saw a glimpse of troops back here, that means that this front is going to be more open. So in the near future, I'm going to engage this guy on the walls here. For the most part, however, my elite Persian archers are going to be established, and now they're really starting to chip away at the enemy. Heavy shot, yeah, taking some guys out. That guy's head was pinned to the floor, basically. However, they do have a lot more reinforcements in the back, so it's really a problem for us. What my ally should be doing is really burning down these gates, burning down his gate, and just putting pressure everywhere. However, I think he was new to the game, so the overabundance of cavalry, the sending these guys really slowly into Testudo when he should just be rushing to the positions and opening up as many gates as possible, is really causing me a lot of damage on this front, because I was hoping he would move in really quick, absorb some of the shots, but it's going to be a problem. Anyways, I was able to force back some of his pikemen, so I decided to all-out charge, and this is where it's going to be make or break for me. So my guys are going to start pouring into this position. My archers up on the front get some initial volleys off before my cav can come in. And my cav were told to run around the sides. However, because of the AI and a little bit of the position here, they got clipped on these pikemen who got in here just at the last moment. Their pikes are going to come down, and this is really going to stop me from pouring through, which is what I was hoping. So they're trying to get through, but there's actually a dead zone right here that I can't travel. So it turns out his pikemen were able to just effectively keep my cataphracts at bay. So I'm losing way more cataphracts than I need to. And those pikes are just really useful. So now I'm going to be pulling out my cataphracts. At least the Romans were able to make it through. Let's go ahead and look at this. Actually, this is pretty ridiculous screenshot. But Romans are now a little bit past the gap, so I bought them a little space. However, at the same time, the Egyptian archers are going to be positioned right here to get some shots off. Look at all those Roman shields trying to push through that gap. And they have more thorax swordsmen in the back just in case the Romans push through. And my opponent is just putting so much manpower through this one hole. He should really be burning down the gates around the other side, doing something. So what he's going to be doing is pushing forward with his Syrian archers. I believe they're going to be told to burn down the gates. That's a problem, however, because they're not covered. Look at this. These citizen cav, all these other units are just ready to bust out this gate and run them over. So he really needs to move these cavalry closer. Over on this front, I've basically sent all of my melee troops up the gates, and now that we forced these guys back a bit, I'm making much more headway. I'm really clearing out this position. Over on this front, my guys were massacred. That's a problem. This tower is going to be positioning itself. I figure I have an opportunity. However, even if we make it through all these defenses, look at this. A lot of these hoplites backed up by a lot more Cretan archers, blocking every single gate. So it's a really hard thing to crack these types of siege works if you really can't get through the opening holes in the wall. So we probably should have set some more rules. But let's watch some of this. So the Romans pushing forward, pikes trying to hold them back. Really an epic screenshot right there. But they're not making any headway. My ally is really trying to force this through, and really it's a losing battle. They can just keep throwing in more and more of their pikemen. Archers are positioned here. And he's just going to decide to try and plug the gaps. Some of his fire arrows are going through here. It's really a waste. He's not going to do much damage. And you can see most of it is just hitting the wall needlessly. And here he goes with the general up through this position. So I guess he could have dismounted his cav and they would have taken less damage. But yeah, any of these positions we're trying to push through, they're just going to send their pikemen up against it. But at least you get to see a pretty satisfying defense from the opponent. So here come all the Roman cav, and boom, they hit a wall. So our luck is not going very well. And look at this, Romans trying to use the hole in the wall. Well, here's what they're going to do. They're just going to decide to push out on this position. So all the cav decide to go through here, and oops, they left all the archers undefended. So that's going to be a huge problem for us. So the defenders are really getting these nice juicy opportunities. I guess the archer fire is doing something, at least. But yeah, the cav is going to be positioning itself to go here, and our ally is realizing the danger. He decides to finally run his units. Now some more cavalry come in, and opportunity wasted by the defenders. They really should have struck where they had the chance. And now I have my elephants for more help. Starting to turn the tide a bit on this wall. However, it's really all these choke points that are getting to us. I can't push through. Plus the control of these towers means every couple seconds an arrow is going to come through, find one of my guys, and I just lose more and more troops. So I continue to try and push forward. I can't press this advantage. And I just don't have enough units over here to burn down the gates and push through. Had I had more towers, I could have, landed all in one assault. So really what we should have done with my ally is just combine everything and send it forward. My elephants are going to be positioned here just to try and ward off his cav. They had gone and rear charged some of the Romans in the gap, so I'm going to go ahead and just try and take these forces out. However, every time I do this, these elephants are just going to suffer more damage to their hit points freely from the towers. So it's a very dangerous move on my part. And you can see some of the arrows coming out from the breach. I believe maybe those are peltists. So our opponent have all kinds of skirmishers to just push back this assault. We're starting to crack a little bit of his troops, but for the most part, this is going to be a mass of dead Praetorian Guard. Really not making any headway. Let's look at some of the stats. Yeah, these Hellenic Royal Guard all were given massive upgrades, so our opponents definitely knew what they were doing. They're going to give those guys massive upgrades and just told them to hold the line. Over in here, I had a little bit more opportunity to succeed. I probably should have had more swordsmen and more archer support, but yeah, I've already told you my reasoning. My archer support here is going to be trying to just shoot over the heads of the legionnaires, take out these guys, but they just have too many, and now these big tanks are going to be coming in, and they're just waiting, hoping that some legionnaires dare to come through or even push out through the gate. But now let's watch my expedition up through this wall. So I made it through, and you can tell I'm trying to tell my guys to run through here. I was trying to get them to just keep running and get away from these pikemen, but the AI was glitching out, so I couldn't push past it. So I decided to tell my guys to go up the gates. Up the stairs. Try and just hold this tower because I had now contested it, so I think at this point it can't shoot me. The AI started fighting me for my own units. I guess because some of them were engaged, they decided to run down. So I had to keep coming back and microing these guys, telling them to run up here. It's pretty frustrating. So you can see I gave the move order to come up here. They're again going to decide to turn about and face the pike, so it's really a problem for me. I was, however, able in that distraction to send some guys up the walls, get the gates, so now I can pour in with all my units. So I successfully was able to force them back. But here we go, they're going to be decided to face my units. Again, some of them are coming back down here. Again, they're going to be forming up in these massive positions here. And I have to take these towers, otherwise they're just going to chip away at all my units. Our opponents had also laid some traps around these positions. Yeah, I sent my mercenary pelters first just to absorb some of those traps. Then I'm going to be sending some of the mercenary peltists up here to take out these units, because with those fireballs I'm really wary of sending in my elephants against a long line where they can just shoot me with those ballista, and then also all the fireballs that had a perfect place to run down. So I'm going to wait, take these towers before pushing out. Trying to put on some of the fire with my elite Persian archers. Actually, just a couple of them are engaging, and they're engaging I think a plaza away with some of these archer units. Where are they firing at? Alright, yeah, they're somewhat shooting here. Our opponents are having good responses to all of this. Sending 2 of their mercenary Cretan archers, and they're going to be taking out my peltist. They really don't want me capturing those towers, mostly because he just wants to do as much damage to me as possible. And then some of them are going to be targeting my hoplites on the wall, so these guys are really having absolutely no luck. Yeah, just getting massacred at these positions. So finally I was able to make a push through here, and we took one of the towers. So now I'm going to be trying to engage in this position, but every turn we go to is going to be blocked by more and more pikes. So it's really hard to know how to beat these types of defenses, because as you can see here, you lose a lot of people on the attack, and I guess the best thing you can do is overinvest in artillery. However, if you do that, then you don't have enough money for the defense, and once those guys have expended all their ammunition on the walls and the towers, then the opponents can just fall back to these sorts of positions with spikes facing in every direction. But I'm trying not to bitch too much. Mostly I hope you just enjoy some of the graphics of the siege. And my ally is finally going to go ahead and decide to burn down this wall, it looks like. So he's going to open up another front, which is awesome. And we were able to clean up this position a bit with the help of my elephants, but it was mostly just a mass of bodies up against pikes. Same thing over here. The mass of Wow. All the Peltas units are really taking a toll on these urban or Praetorian Guard who really can't do anything. And the pikemen are just standing still. They're really exhausted, but man, are they doing a lot of damage. Over here, I was not able to kill these units. They just pulled up some of their archers and just decided to shoot them in the side. So it's all about controlling the choke points in this game. Anyways, sending my Peltas here, try and get some free shots off at my opponent. These guys cleared most of the way, so there weren't any traps. These forces kind of ran around, and then they dodged most of the traps, and they came in through here. So at least I'm going to start clearing away some of these passages. Take out his ballista before they can get any shots off. My main idea was to try and push through here and start ramming into these units in the back, hopefully trying to just carve a way through, timing it with the Romans who are breaking down that gate. Ideally that would have happened way earlier in the battle, but I was unable to commit too many forces here until I was sure that Athens had pulled back, so now I'm able to push through. Ideally this assault would have happened in conjunction with the full out attack on the gates with the Romans and everyone. That's how you probably win these battles, is just breaking in on all fronts. Over here I tried to chase off his units with my elephants. It kind of worked. Pulled back to a further position in the plaza, but I can't engage. They have layers upon layers of those archers. I'm leaving some of my own elite Persian archers just to hold this front and hold this tower. This is going to be my I don't know, forward operating base, I guess you could call it. But yeah, taking it cost me an entire Peltist unit just from his return fire. Here you go. My plan with the elephants was to decide to push out through here and either support this assault or maybe push them through here or do something. But now the Romans are through the gate, so that's awesome. We got through. There weren't any pikes right there. So they're going to be intercepting with some of these swordsmen, and then they're just going to be reforming their pikes and getting shots on us from defenders up on the walls. Then they're going to have some elite Ptolemaic cav there, but mostly this is going to be what is killing the Romans, the elephants coming in. But look in the distance, I do have some reinforcements coming in, so it's my allies, the enemy, and then the allies in the back. But here they come. Oops, I didn't mean to zoom out. Let's watch some of this charge. So the angry elephants are going to be stomping on these Romans, who have basically had enough at this point. So we are doing some damage to them, but the legionnaires are occupied elsewhere. So they're going to be mostly stuck between a rock and a hard place, almost literally, with the elephants and the pikes and the wall here. Anyways, my cataphracts were able to charge in the confusion through this point, just mop up some of his archers, his light peltas, excuse me. And I really wanted to take out the gates here, so these Soric swordsmen are the perfect target to charge through and just steamroll his guys. So I'm landing some strikes, trying to just soften up this position, come back through here. But already by the time I've decided to start landing those blows, the entire Roman force has been gobbled up by these elephants. They're happy and cheering. My own Peltas are going to try and support my cataphracts who are pulling back. I knew he'd try and chase me with my elephants, so I'm going to try pulling back to these heights. The Peltas are going to try and position themselves up here to take out his elephants. At this point, he's going to be pushing forward aggressively, trying to retake my forward operating base on that side. My own elephants are here waiting. I really wanted them to help, clear out these mercenary Cretan archers, because I knew obviously I couldn't win with my Persian archers. So my own archers are going to be pulling back. And what I figured is I'm going to tell my elephants to just run around, loop around, and attack these archers in the back. So I'm going to take as little damage as possible. Meanwhile, allow the towers that I control to take out his archers. So it's starting to work. You can see these guys are tired and they're not really making much progress, and they're not going to be doing much damage. So what I decided to do is run my elephants around. However, I forgot that this was here. So you can see my elephants are taking a lot of damage unnecessarily. I already lost one of them. The rest of them are just racking up the damage, and they're going to be stampeding through this position. However, elephants in the city, I realize, are not very useful. The AI tends to get stuck on a lot of objects, so what was supposed to be a quite speedy counterattack over here ends up being quite the opposite. Mostly because I lost 2 elephants here. The rest of them start getting stuck on these choke points, and his archers are making actually good time. So I'm going to decide to turn around, and I figured, yes, now I will be able to smack right down against these 2 archers. I think he realized the threat that's coming at him, but look at this. my elephants are going to decide to derp out a bit. So 2 died, 3 got intercepted, the rest are going to start moving forward. The AI is not really sure what to do with these elephants. I was really worried about these guys being at the mercy of the archers back there. Thankfully they weren't shooting at me, but that would have been almost a perfect opportunity. So I'm going to be pulling back, trying to intercept these archers in this position. But at this point you can kind of tell that the battle is going to be fruitless. I sent some of my own archers up the tower to try and intercept his forces. They were out of ammo, so I just kind of sacrificed them. And all that's left of our units at this position is going to be my cataphracts. I forgot about them because I was trying to micro my elephants, and so I'm just starting to lose units. I'm going to pull these guys back pretty soon. Yeah, I think that's them moving out. So I realize what I've done, but I lost, you know, a good 5-6 units pulling them back here, but they decided to rout. So all I have left outside the gates is going to be an elephant unit and a relatively depleted cataphract unit, and that's going to be smelling like an opportunity for the defenders to sally forth and clean up these attackers. We're starting to lose sight of what's going on here, but you started to catch a glimpse of some units moving forward. I pulled back here. It's kind of funny. I'm sort of mounting a defense within the city itself, so I pulled back to these heights, kind of daring my opponent to come attack me here. And over on this front, we can try and watch my elephants. I don't quite know what happened. Tried to tell them to charge here. They still got stuck, and then they decided to rampage. Okay, most of them did make it through here. He's going to be pulling back, and I just couldn't quite catch up to them. He's going to be pulling back to the towers, to pikes, intercepting with some more pikes. And over in this position, as I was trying to micro those elephants, take a look at what's coming out. Just like I was saying, the defenders are smelling an opportunity, so we'll go ahead and watch these guys. Mind you, I had a huge lapse in micro at this point. It should have been obvious that they were coming out, but I could have probably taken these guys if I'd countercharged his cav with my elephants. But he's going to get all of the strikes that he needed at this point. Some javelins just sticking right through my elephants. And you get an elephant on elephant charge. That'd be pretty devastating for my guys. It looks a little kooky, but they're going to be racking in the kills. So my cataphract unit is just going to be obliterated from that charge. And then the cavalry who are liberated from this front are going to come over to this position. Yeah, it's over for us. So the Peltas are going to be lending their hand in this fight. My elephants are, they're going to be taking it. So cavalry charge against their ankles, Peltas coming in for their backs, and then elephants right here is kind of striking at the throat. So that's going to be it for this front. I still have some units up here, but they're kind of despairing at this point, and so all of a sudden I think they're going to start just routing. So I hope you guys enjoyed this battle. Definitely educated me on some of the pitfalls you can have when attacking a city. So what I definitely need to do is bring more artillery units. And so I played another battle with some of the same players where we assaulted Rome. And in that battle, what you'll be seeing is a huge number of artillery pieces. And we'll see how that affects our luck. But I think mostly the problem was Rome just concentrated his units in 2 places and just threw them all against just 3 pikemen. So that was the main problem. Instead of distributing our assault, we really attacked in concentrated positions. Again, it was kind of my fault as well for not having enough artillery pieces to take out the towers, punch more gaps here. But again, I think that the advantage lies with the defender, as is of course historical, and especially putting pikes here and just holding these positions. But anyways, that's going to be it for the battle. I hope you guys enjoyed. Let's actually end the replay and look at some of the stats. So I myself only got 690 kills. My ally really didn't get many kills. And where did most of my kills come up? Yep, mostly from the cleaning operations, from my cavalry on the outside. Elephants a little bit, archers a little bit. But mostly look at this. These guys here, the Athenians. This is all the kills from killing my guys on the walls, plus a little bit of cleaning up. These guys didn't get much done. Mostly all the grunt work was done from the Egyptian unit. And look at his pikes who are holding that position. Hellenic Guard, 210, 109, 156. And these thorax swords have been all the guys cleaning up my forces on the walls. So kudos to my opponents. Fun battle. Hope you guys enjoyed. See you next time.